Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Paul Potter with Crappie Fishing TV. Guys, today in this video we're going to be going out here and showing you how I fish these brush piles for my guide trips here on Grand Lake in Oklahoma and how we're filling the boat up. So guys, let's go. We've got a great show for you. Guys, we've been on the water for the last 30 days, at least 4 hours a day, either scouting or doing guide trips. Here's some of the pictures from the latest guide trips we've been doing over the last 30 days. As you can see, we've been catching some monster crappie, always putting people on them, and that's because we're out here chasing them all the time. All right, so brush piles. Like I said, everybody knows fishing docks on Grand Lake is very productive. Shooting docks, using slip corks under docks, vertical fishing, pitching jigs up into docks. You can catch a lot of crappie on docks, but you don't want to underestimate brush piles here on Grand Lake, especially in these warmer months. I mean, when it gets warm and that water temperature gets 85, these crappie love to be on deep brush piles here at Grand Lake. And so the way that I fish brush piles on these guide trips is, you know, from the time that I drop my trolling motor in the water, you know, I'm looking at which way my trolling motor's facing, and I look on my Livescope screen and I can see the numbers on the top of that Livescope. You know, you'll see the 20, 15, 25. That means that my Livescope is pointing, or that brush pile that I'm looking at is 20 feet in front of wherever my trolling motor's pointing. So if I see a brush pile and I see that 20 and then I see a brush pile right below it, if my trolling motor's pointing that way, it's pointing right towards that brush pile. So that's how I know where the brush pile is. And what I'll do is I will pull up to that brush pile within pitching distance. You know, once I get around the 10, 15, 5, anywhere between the 5 to 15 mark, I will pitch my jig up over that brush pile and I will watch it go down on my Livescope. And I'll show you multiple examples here of all these, you know, these shots of my jig going down. And sometimes I'll let my jig fall down. Sometimes I'll just leave it there, you know, because sometimes they just want that jig dead still. So sometimes I'll try that. Another technique is I'll pitch it and swing that jig over the top of it without thumping it, without twitching it, without jigging it very much, just letting it swing over, because sometimes that's the way they like to hit it. The other technique I use is pitching it over there and then jigging it. Probably once every 5 seconds I might give it a little twitch, and just to give it a little bit of action down there, and sometimes that entices them to bite. And that's how, and most of the time that's how we're fishing these brush piles, and that's how we're pulling crappie in. You know, when I'm pitching my jig up and it's swinging down, you know, and I see a fish come up and follow it, at that point I'm not even looking at the Livescope. At that point I'm looking at the tip of my rod and I'm looking at my line, and I'm waiting for any kind of change to happen. I'm waiting for that line to move sideways. I'm waiting for the line to go slack. I'm waiting for the tip of the rod to go down. I'm waiting to watch for a bite on the tip of the rod. I'm feeling the rod to see if I can feel any resistance or if I can feel any taps or any bites, you know. So that's pretty much what I do on these brush piles. Really, the most detailed thing you want to do is use your Livescope to find where the brush pile is. Once you find the brush pile, get on top of the brush pile, pitch your jig up there, let it fall on top of the brush pile and hold it there, twitch it. Try different techniques on jigging. You know, so like I said, sometimes they just want it dead still. Sometimes you have to be 10 feet away from them and pitch to the brush pile and drag it over the top of it, you know, but you need to try all the techniques to see which one they're going to bite. Sometimes they only want minnows, sometimes they want a minnow with it tipped on there. So you want to try different baits, different jigs. But I promise you, if you go out and you use this technique and you pull up to the brush pile just like we did in this video, and you see them on your Livescope and you can watch your jig go down to the brush pile, I promise you, use these techniques that we've showed you in detail today. I promise you, you will catch fish off these brush piles. Thanks for watching today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Watch some other videos. We'll see you next time.